And we've reached the end of this arc, people. I never thought I'd see the day. So, before I get started with this review, I want to let everyone know some very good news for us fairy tale fans. Hiro Mashima, since January, has been working so hard that he pretty much, for the next couple weeks, we're going to have 3 chapters next week. In 1 week, 3 chapters, all with colored pages. Then the following week, 3 more chapters. And then the following week, a special chapter. So pretty much we are going to have 6 chapters in 2 weeks, and then a special chapter that following week, which that's freaking awesome. So as a writer that really appreciates his fans, that can't, you can't speak any louder than giving us so much content like that. Hopefully it doesn't lack in quality because he's done so much, but since he's been working at it since January, I'd imagine he had a good enough time to do everything properly. And just overall, I'm glad to hear that. Like, yo, that's something amazing. I never really heard of that. 6 chapters in 2 weeks from one manga, brand new content. That's gonna be pretty dope. Now, as far as this chapter goes, closing out this entire arc from the Grand Magic Games and then the little Dragon War we just had, or, well, big Dragon War, I guess you could say, that we just had. First of all, I want to say that the ending with future Lucy pretty much getting revived and going back to her time and seeing that everyone in her time was revived due to the machine being broken, pretty much a lot of the stuff that happened was reversed. It felt very cliche. To be honest with you, this chapter overall felt very happy-go-lucky, happy ending type of thing, one of those Hollywood endings, and if this was a Hollywood movie, then people would eat it up. But it felt like truly a fairy tale. Honestly, it felt like a fairy tale. Fairy tale felt like a fairy tale in this chapter where, Lucy was crying and she went with Natsu and whatnot, and overall them just having a happy future. So it really felt like that even in the present time. Hiro Mashima really just wanted to, I guess, give it a happy ending, and unfortunately it came across as cliche. Emotional, yeah, I felt a little bit like, yo, good stuff, everyone, got survived for the most part, but it felt cliche. Now, as far as the whole thing, one of the big points of this chapter that I did get intrigued of, it was a little foreshadowing for upcoming events, where Rogue, or Future Rogue, says to Natsu, which at the same time it also felt a little bit like, what? When he tells him, in 1 year, Frosch will die. Tell myself at this time that to protect Frosch, because in 1 year, he's going to die. And Natsu comes with this, like, surprise face or whatever. Now, that makes you think, is it because of a big threat? Is it just that, there was a magical car, magical tractor that hit him? Why will he die in a year? That'll throw him into despair. So the foreshadowing there, very nicely done. I'm glad that there was a little bit of foreshadowing. But that also really makes you think, because he said that the shadows been coming after him for a while. And this sounds like where Jalal was being possessed by Ultir back in the day. So it really makes you think, what shadows is this, like, what's his name, Zeref, coming after him this entire time, trying to possess him? It makes you really think, what is these shadows that he's talking about? And the thing that really got me was he said pretty much, the bottom line is, what made him snap was Frosch's death, a cat. That right there just really gave you all the motive that pretty much showed why Future Rogue did everything that he did. It still doesn't explain why would he completely go evil, but I guess the simple fact that the shadows engulfed him after that, he allowed the shadows to turn him into what he becomes, it still makes you think, like, all this over a cat? I've had animals die, but you don't see me getting a time machine and going back in time and trying to destroy the world. So that really makes you think, holy fuck, all this over a goddamn cat. God damn. Ugh. So, in that aspect, Future Rogue, cool foreshadowing, that was a good setup, but when we get to the bottom line of his motives, it really just is disturbing. It's really disturbing that Rogue is that much of a loose cannon that a cat dying makes him want to destroy the world and become a dragon king. Another big thing that we also got was pretty much what Mavis says, that, yo, not one of the Dragon Slayers were able to defeat a dragon. They're called Dragon Slayers, but they couldn't slay a dragon. And that kind of just throws their morale down in a way. And to be honest with you, that might be future, set up for when the Acnologia or maybe some more dragons come, depending on how would they come at this point, because, the machine's been broken. But that really is set up for when Acnologia attacks or whatever. If they couldn't even beat these dragons that are nowhere near Acnologia's level, then if Acnologia attacked right now, they'd still be done. Acnologia at this particular point could still take over the world if he wanted to, because they wouldn't be able to survive. Even if everyone in Fairy Tail, every guild in Fior attacked Acnologia, they wouldn't be able to do anything because they couldn't even beat these subpar dragons. Well, not subpar, but they couldn't even beat these dragons. So there'd be no chance against Acnologia. Another little bit more setup and foreshadowing that they need to train. I almost feel as though with that foreshadowing and then that part right there saying that they, weren't even able to beat these dragons, it really felt like some we need to train for the androids type of thing. But then again, we don't know exactly the extent of why Frosch dies in a year's time. It could be the Acnologia kills him, Zeref kills him, or it could just be that he got ran over by a tractor. So we really gotta wait and find out that before we can jump to conclusions. But really good setup, I like, for those two particular parts. We also got a little Easter egg, I guess you could say. Zirconis, the Dragon of Jade. Remember way back in the day when he was like, I'm the Dragon of Jade? Well, it was actually the princess that says, yes, I'm Jade just like you. And he was like, Jade. So that's where he came up with the name, the Dragon of Jade. Little Easter egg. Didn't really care for it, but guess got a little explanation on that end. And that was pretty much the gist of the chapter. But I was left with a couple of different questions. One, why would Rogue, I don't know, it just feels so wrong over a cat he wants to take over the world and destroy people. Yeah, I guess we just need more explanation for what the shadows are exactly that were taking over him, where they come from, and to what extent did it affect his mind, because it seems as though he's Rogue, just a pissed off Rogue, so what extent are they controlling him? Makes you think that. Also, as far as Ultir goes, did time rewind for Ultir? Is she back to life? Or is Ultir dead? Because nobody acknowledged the fact that, hey, where the hell is Ultir? So hopefully next chapter we get that, which, again, we're going to have 3 chapters in a row. So I'd imagine the next 3 chapters, maybe 2 out of the 3 are going to be build up, and then the final one will be like, maybe Zeref will show up again, because Hiro Mashima did 3 chapters in 1 week before, but that was where he showed Zeref, I believe, in the 3rd chapter, so that's pretty interesting. But why isn't anyone acknowledging Ultir's death, supposed? Or did she get revived with everything going back in time? Makes you think that as well. And overall, it just makes you seem like, yeah, they weren't able to defeat the dragons, so it showed that the dragons were boss. But it also kind of just was like a cop-out. It felt like, they couldn't beat the dragons, but some time machine being destroyed ends up making them zap back to the time. So it felt like a cop-out in a way, but I'm really hoping that a lot of this, because it felt like foreshadowing and build-up to the next arc. A lot of these, dialogue that we got in this chapter, the build-up of, in 1 year, Frosch will die, and that's what makes me snap. What is it that Frosch is gonna, why is Frosch gonna die? That's a big question. And also the fact that they couldn't beat any of these dragons. Dragon Slayers couldn't do shit. So we need Acnologia to show up. And also, what the hell? This whole dragon invasion, what was Gildarts doing this entire time that he didn't come and help these guys out? He's stronger than everybody in Fairy Tail, everybody in Raven Tail, everybody in general. Except, of course, the headmasters, which Makarov didn't jump in really to do shit because he couldn't anyway, but he couldn't, where was Gildarts? Overall, final thoughts of the chapter, final impressions, because I'm not going to do an arc overview of this, because this arc in general, and I'm talking about Grand Magic Games, the Dragon arc, all of it combined, it had its highs and it had its lows, and I don't want to focus on a lot of negativity on an arc overview, but I will say I am very glad we are done with this arc. A lot of questions got arose, okay, what's going to happen in a year? Where's Acnologia? Where's Zeref? Why weren't they a part of this stuff? So there's a lot of questions. Hopefully we'll get some answers, because also, when Zeref showed up 7 years ago, it seems as though he came here from a different time. So maybe there's another way of coming back in time. Makes you think that as well. But that's all I have for this review. I give this chapter, it felt cliche, but it did bring them feels. And at the end of the day, my reviews are content with a slight bit of enjoyment and entertainment into it as well. That's overall what you put into a review. Well, me personally, anyway, that's how I rate it. And content-wise, it felt cliche. Entertainment-wise, it gave you them feels, and it was just like, damn, everybody's, they couldn't do shit. So it really gets you anticipating the next arc more so than what we got in this arc. I'm going to give this chapter 2.5, 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I'm going to give it a good 3 out of 5. Let me know what you think. First of all, what's going to happen to Frosch in a year? What is going to happen to that little freaking bastard in a year? And also, if Acnologia showed up right now and everybody in Fiora went up against him, you think they'll stop him? I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. That's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for finally finishing this arc. I feel like I've been reading and watching this arc for years, but it's only been about a little over a year, so not too bad. I'm Forever World, and as always, people, have an awesome day.